Reddit, what's your craziest jealous girlfriend, boyfriend story?
Dated a guy in college that was psychotically jealous. He found one of our condom wrappers under my bed while I was at school and lost his fucking mind. I had to leave class early to get home to make sure he wouldn't destroy any of my things. He would go through my stuff and demand I delete or throw away any old pictures of me with an ex or male friend, which I did. Unfortunately, I was young, and now regret it. We would walk through LA together and he would just ditch me in the middle of the city if he thought he saw me looking at someone else, like I somehow must prevent my eyes from seeing any other man out in the world. I was at his place once and an ice cream truck drove by, so he and I and his roommate got ice creams together. His roommate asked me how my ice cream was. Later my ex flipped his shit. How fucking stupid are you? He was really asking you how your pussy tastes. I left and he chased my car down the road trying to hold on and banging on the windows. Dude was fucking insane. I had to move out of the city and he would call me for 3 years afterward. I tried to block his number but he would just get a new one. And I didn't want to get a new one because I've had my number forever and I didn't want to let him win, I guess. I just stopped answering calls from the area code. He finally called and left a message telling me that he knocked some girl up and it was my fault. 3 years later. Haven't heard from him since. That guy needs a lifetime of therapy.
My boyfriend knew my iCloud password, so when we weren't together he would check my Find My iPhone every 20 minutes. He didn't realize at the time that I got an email every time he checked it.
My ex-wife woke me up once to yell at me because she had a dream I cheated on her. Girl called me on my phone, left me a voicemail saying she got raped. I called her back, she started crying, telling me about how her friend of 10 years came over to help with HW, started to kiss her, she told him to stop, he didn't and then raped her. I told her I would come over and take her to the police. I went over to her house, she told me to come in. She started crying some more, gave more details about the rape, how it happened, where it happened, what he did afterwards, etc. At the end of the story she came up to me and started kissing me. We never did anything before this. She said, "Thank you so much for everything. You're such a nice guy. I want to give you something back in return." I stopped her and said we need to go to the police first. She said, "Oh, no, it's okay, I made up all of that stuff to get you to come over. Now I know you really care about me." I immediately left, called 5 people, including my lawyer, to tell them what happened in case she tried something crazy, because obviously she's a fucking nutcase. My lawyer called someone in the police department, he sent someone over to my house to get a statement from me and sent someone over to her house to get a statement from her. Haven't talked to that psychotic bitch since. I had a girlfriend who pretended to be a stranger online at a video game forum I used to frequent. She would send private messages and attempt to get me to cheat on her, but it was obviously her. Besides, I would never have done that. She also searched through my computer every chance she got. She found a folder with a few pictures of women in bikinis I had once used as backgrounds. This caused her to cry for weeks, even though I deleted the folder in front of her and apologized immediately after. This girl. Man, she was so gorgeous, but always had security issues. One day I hung out with my female cousin. Yes, my cousin. And she flew off the goddamn handle. Said I was spending too much time with her, and that she was a whore, and all this crazy stuff. She boiled my rabbit.
Boyfriend and I are at a party with mutual friends. There's music and lots of people dancing. BF did not want to dance. I dance with mutual male friend for one song, not close, just dancing next to each other. Boyfriend completely freaks, locks himself in bathroom and cries in the corner for 5 hours, claiming I had sex with said mutual friend. After half an hour of telling him not to be jealous, asking him not to be silly, come out and stop crying and have fun, I gave up and left him to his balls.
Not a jealous story, but definitely crazy. I had a girl once who thought it was hilarious to chase me around trying to stab me with various sharp objects like metal wires, untangled paper clips, pins and such. One time she cornered me, and after telling her to stop several times I hit her arm, trying to knock whatever she had in her hand at the time out of her grasp. She acted like she was in shock that I would hit her and made me out to be a horrible person.
My brother was dating this psychotic girl who didn't want him talking to anyone, male or female. He was living with me at the time, and she would try to come over all the time, even tried to move her stuff in one weekend when I was out of town. She was constantly yelling at him for everything, even for talking to people on the phone at his day job, which happened to be phone support for a cellular provider. When the rest of our family would come visit, she would threaten to kill herself if she wasn't allowed to go, which we wouldn't let her after the first time she was invited. Totally different story. Ugh. She would not allow for him to hang out with any of the family, to the point where one time our mother was in town and she stopped by our place for 15 minutes, and she called a dozen times, leaving him nasty voice messages and probably 30 text messages about how he's cheating on her. My ex-husband was so jealous he wouldn't allow me to have any friends, girl or guy, because he thought I would sleep with them. Never cheated on him either. He was even jealous of the relationship I had with my mom. And my mom hated him. So one day he finds me at her house and he's crying, pointing at my mom, screaming make her love me. We got divorced soon after.
I had a girlfriend that would start fights with me for even talking to another girl, even if it was for work. She would go through my phone, search my room, constantly grill me. Later on I found out she had BPD. That explained it all. My ex-girlfriend made a voodoo doll out of some underwear I left at her place. She then stabbed it through the crotch. I didn't get laid for 6 months. Bitch.
In college I dated a guy who was very bad news. I ended up breaking up with him, and then he broke into my apartment complex's laundry room and stole every pair of underwear and my load of laundry out of the washer. He drove around our complex constantly. He had a loud truck, so that I would know that he was always watching me. He threw a cinder block through my bedroom window while I was in bed. He broke into my apartment by climbing into the window and then walking out of the front door. This was especially disturbing because I couldn't find anything that was missing. Kind of like that Dane Cook joke about him doing a B&E. What the fuck did he take? He drove very long nails into both passenger side tires of my car. Had I not checked my car before driving it, I likely could have been in a serious accident.
My niece's ex was a jealous boss. He tried to break into the maternity ward where they kept the newborn to try and prove that it was his kid, despite the fact that they haven't been in contact for over 3 years. He also tried to sue for custody a couple years later. The ex tried to attack my niece's husband on multiple occasions, and every time it ends with his ass up and his face kissing the ground.
He tried to bar me from wearing shorts my first year of college so boys wouldn't look at me. Little did I know every time I went out of town he was having 3-ways with people from high school. I have a very low sense of jealousy and I'm somewhat emotionally distant. My ex-boyfriend would come and tell me about the hot girls he talked to, and how hot they were, or show me work emails he got and mention how beautiful the woman who sent them was. I wasn't really sure what he was getting at. Then one day he burst at me, about how he was telling me those stories, so I become jealous just like he was jealous when I talked to other guys.
Forgot my phone at home while out for errands and came back to 120 missed calls. What's craziest thing your ex-boyfriend/girlfriend did? Let us know in the comments. Best comment will be a part of the next video.